So after doing a little bit of homework, I purchased a WeBoost, which is really a Wilson Electronics cell phone signal booster. And the main reason I got it because where I work, I like to go out to my car at lunchtime and check whatever news, make some calls because I can't take my phone in to work with me. And the signal is very weak and I end up basically wasting my time. It's not even worth going out there. So I decided to try this signal booster. I purchased the 4GM. Do your homework on it. They have ones for the house, ones for the car, and this one is for the car, designated by the letter M, meaning mobile. And of course it does 3G and 2G also. Of course I know we're going to 5G, but hey, how many of us still have 386 computers? You know, you just can't wait for the latest revision. So anyway, I purchased it. It comes with the hardware. It comes with a power supply. And the biggest feature that I like is this on-off switch on the power supply. That is great. I love it. That alone is worth it. I'm not kidding. I have one vehicle that has a constant power, and all my other vehicles, the power supply outlet has no power when the ignition is off. So the one vehicle that has the constant power supply, I can turn it off with the switch and leave it plugged in the whole time without having to plug it in, and unplug it. So that's a really nice feature. I like that a lot. In addition to the power supply, it has an external antenna. I guess that's about the only disadvantage, is because if you're like me, you're kind of nerdy in that you don't like the wire. You know, they have the instructions have you running the wire from like the center of the roof to one of the doors, and having it go into one of the doors just to go around the weather stripping and inside the car that way. You know, that's just dumb. I'm sorry, it just looks tacky. So anyway, for my one vehicle, I have a hatchback, so it's very easy to deal with. I can just open up the hatch and I'll just have about 12 inches of wire from the antenna into the hatchback. For my other cars, like my four-door sedans, it's a little more tricky. There's a few little tricks I can have to hide the wire on the roof, and then I'll just have it go around the glass or into the trunk and then into the vehicle that way. In addition to the external antenna, there is an internal antenna. I apologize, I really didn't study the technology, so it boosts the signal, so I'm sure your phone connects to this antenna so that you can have your data transmit through the system. So anyway, of course, text and telephone calls also go through there. But mainly I got it for the data. Now I've already tried it. I tried it today. I drove from Lynchburg, Virginia to Charlottesville, Virginia, and you go through Nelson County, and Nelson County is a notoriously dead zone because of hills and valleys and lack of cell phone towers, and it worked great. My wife has an iPhone 5S, and that one did great. That one did a lot better than my Android-based phone on US Cellular. However, at times it dropped the signal from minus 125 decibels, which is extremely bad, down to minus 55 decibels. That is awesome. Absolutely awesome. So there were times where it really kicked in and was really powerful. and when I unplugged it, it would jump right back up to like 100, 109, and like that. So I'll show you that on the phone. We'll do some tests, and so far so good. Alright, here's my setup. Now if I was on one of my sedans or something, I'd go to a much greater extent to hide the wiring, but I have the antenna running down to the hatchback on the Jeep. Then I go under the weather stripping, under the flashing. You see I didn't even make an effort to hide it underneath the headliner. I might do that later. And then I go into the flashing again. And again, between the weather stripping and the flashing, you know, and I just kind of went all the way down. Came out, followed the carpet, and just came out here and put the external antenna, hooked it up. The internal antenna, I did even less hiding. I just kind of went over the hump, over where the seat is, and underneath the carpeting, the temporary carpeting here. And then I went, you know, just right up the seat and put it behind the headrest here, just kind of wrapped it around. I didn't use the Velcro. I'm not worried about it flopping around, not on the Jeep. This is my daily commuter. Like I said, if this was one of my sedans, I would, you know, mount this inconspicuously somewhere, and I'd go to a lot more trouble hiding the wires, including, you know, removing panels or even poking holes and stuff. But not for this vehicle. For the power supply, I have a cigarette lighter which does not have power when the ignition's off, and then I have a power supply which is always on, and I have the switch off, and I just ran the wire underneath the center console. And again, I made little or no effort to hide it. I just came out of the console and down the seat and underneath the carpet here, been over into the converter, and then just plugged in the power supply. And again, one of the features I absolutely love has nothing to do with the signal boost part of the product, is just this on-off switch right here. I just absolutely love it. So I've turned it on and booted it up, and let's take a look at it. So I have 4 green lights, nothing's flashing, no red, no amber, no orange, no nothing, you know, everything's working fine. There are no issues. At this point, I'd like to say there was really no instruction manual with it. It was kind of a quick view how to hook it up, which in my opinion is kind of a no-brainer. You know, internal antenna, external antenna, power supply, what else is there? So, if you need to know what a red light is or if something's flashing, you have to go to their website. And it's they give you information, but it's just okay. I mean, they're a small company, you know, what can you say? Alright, that's it. Now we boost. Alright, my phone says I have a signal strength of minus 112 decibels and 28 ASU. I apologize, I don't know what ASU means. My network type is LTE. I'm not even, you know, 4G, 3G, nothing LTE, you know. So anyway, so let's turn this sucker on and see what happens here. Alrighty, I immediately dropped down to minus 95, which is a great improvement. A tremendous improvement. It's like a logarithmic scale. And to get below 100 is very good. So I'm at minus 112 decibels and 28 ASU. And we'll do another test, fire this thing up, and see where we go. Drops immediately to 96 decibels and 44 ASU. And if you know anything about that, which I have a limited knowledge, I know it's like a logarithmic scale, so to go that far down is like a tremendous increase in signal strength. Now I have got it down to like 55. I was at minus 100, and when I was driving down the road it went to minus 55. So depending on where you're at and the circumstances, you know, I have a big tree behind me, you know, I'm not moving, I was pretty static. Just this non-scientific test shows you that there is a difference, that the signal was indeed boosted. So minus 13.27 to minus 96.44. I mean, it works. For all practical purposes, it works. So what are the disadvantages? Well, mainly the wiring, and not even that, it's the external antenna. If there was just some way of dealing with the wire on the external antenna, it would be a whole lot better. Also, when I got closer to the antenna, I dropped even more. I went to minus 83 decibels and 57 ASU. So, you know, from 112, 113 to 83, that is an unbelievable boost in signal strength. That is tremendous. So, it definitely works. I've only tried it today, driving up to Charlottesville and back, and it worked fine for us. Like I said, we tried it on an iPhone 5S, and it worked much better than this Android phone. iPhone 5S was connected to Verizon, and I was connected to US Cellular. So the Verizon signal was boosted much more than the US Cellular. But still, driving through Nelson County, you know, I had no dead zones. And that is a big deal. That is a big deal driving down Highway 29 in Nelson County, because pretty much the whole thing between Albemarle and Amherst is pretty much a dead zone. So this thing really worked. I'll give it its accolades. Thank you for watching.